And welcome to Coleman on Purpose. This is a podcast that is centered on walking in your true and divine purpose, whether you're at the beginning of it or you're at the maybe middle of it or just walking along that path. This is the perfect podcast for you to be listening to today. I am so excited to get back in the swing of things. My mojo is back and I'm on a roll, ready to get some more of my new solo episodes going. We've had guests on the podcast for the past 2 episodes, and so I wanted to come back with an episode that I have been waiting to do, and this is so exciting because it's called The Fame Drug. Now, I know you're wondering, like, what are we talking about drugs for? Like, what's going on? No, the Fame Drug is a specific topic that I've been wanting to cover for a while. I've gone back and forth sometimes talking about being an actor or different things that I've wanted to do or dreams in life. And I wanted to delve a little bit further into the whole synopsis of what it means to be so engulfed in maybe wanting to be famous, or if you just want to be impactful in the world. There are differences in the world. If you're just wanting to maybe make money from your gift, that you just want to make money from it, and there's different reasons why everybody does it. So I can honestly say that I can't say that I've never not wanted to, maybe for a period of time, like fame like that impressed me and I wanted to be famous. I have had times though where I've wanted to be the greatest at something that I enjoyed immensely. And that does include at one point in time it was singing. At one point in time, it was just getting out there and maybe being something on the stage. I've had different little phases of life of things that I wanted to do because of my joy, the joy that I get from some of the things that I believe that I have been gifted with. I spent hours and hours in my room when I was a young child, like writing different things down, recording things, imagining different scenarios. Anybody that you have talked to from my past, and can tell you that I have always had a knack for wanting to do different things. I remember inviting my friends over, like, for this big concert at one point in time, and it was like we had all put together different acts and stuff. It was like an awards ceremony, so I had my separate awards because I was always watching the Academy Awards, the Tony Awards, different things like that. And so I do believe that impacted how much I love the entertainment industry, or I'm into a lot of the things that are involved with it. But I always think to myself, like, how bad did I actually want to be a big star? What is it about it? Why was it something that I wanted to be so bad? Like, is there a underlying thing behind that, or is it just maybe a dream or something that maybe you saw someone else do that maybe you want to do as well? In all reality, as much as I enjoyed, the fact of entertainment and being, out in front or doing different things like that, I also realized that there were insecurities that I had while walking into that path. Was I good enough? There are so many different people that are in industries that we have that it's saturated, overly saturated with people that are all dreaming the same thing. So I wondered, like, did I have what it takes? What are some of the things? Like, how do I stand out? How can I stand out from everyone else? How can I be this unique person in a world of so many people that are either putting on a face in order to present it to somebody when it's really not them, it's just their acting skill? Or what can I do to separate myself or make myself be different? I do remember an old friend of mine stopping college right before they were finishing out school, and it was probably like I would say maybe like 3 or 4 months before school was up or out for that year that the person was in. And I remember them saying, I can't even do this anymore. I'm moving to LA. I'm going. I got to pursue my dream. I got to pursue my goal. I just want it. I want it bad, and I'm not willing to wait around any longer. I'm wasting money here in college, and I just want to go and do it. And so they left and they said, I'm going to go and do what I got to do. And I sometimes wonder, like, is that what I needed in order to push forward, or what other things? But I do realize that everything is made or designed in this life specifically for you. It's not for anybody else. It's your specific journey. It's your specific path. Whatever road you want to take to get around to it, you can choose to do that. So this was the road I took, going back into the real world, finding a real job, and not really pursuing that full on. Like, I always had thoughts of it, but didn't really want to pursue it full on. So I understand why she couldn't take one more minute of not pursuing what was so ingrained in her and what was so she wanted to do it bad. So I'm proud of her for doing that, and I commend her for continuing that path, because it's not easy always to walk that path if it's maybe ahead of time, or if it's just, if you're behind, you're trying to catch up. So it really is a task. I can only think of one time in my life that I did that, where I was like, it was so, I wanted to do it so bad. And that was when I got into the real world. After I had worked at the bank for so long, a 9 to 5, I was pursuing, even before I got the job at the bank, I wanted to be a flight attendant. I had gone and I'd applied to a couple other airlines, and then I just wanted to get out. Like, I was like, I can't do this cubicle. I can't do this 9 to 5. I need a more loose schedule. This is not the type of person I am. I already wanted to be an actor and do something that I enjoy I want to spend all my time doing something that I love so much. And this is keeping me really boxed in. So I said, I need to get out of here and do what I got to do. So I wanted that very badly. And I was like, I got to go. And I went and I tried out for that flight attendant one more time. And with this company, I got it the very first time. I was like, look, I am out of here. I gotta go. And there was so much in me. I can remember during that time in my life when I was up there reading Jesus Calling every single day. And I was like, Lord, help me, Lord. Oh God, help me to be content in where I'm at right now. And I couldn't, I really wanted to just get out of there. And this job has afforded me the opportunity to be more free with my life, to have, the freedom to get on here and do stuff like this, or see some of the things that I'll put up on the internet and stuff like that, just trying to create little content that makes me happy and makes me joyful. So in the back of my mind, I know that this job is a part of my purpose, because this is, like I said, the journey that we take to get there. And I'm here to meet new people, to have great experiences, and to connect with people that motivate me to think beyond even the job that I'm at now. And I get that all the time, because I'll be sitting down on a jump seat or something, or talking to somebody, and they'll be like, we'll get into some deep conversation about something, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I never really thought about that. Or I'll say, pretty much everybody I've run into, they see something outside of the job. And you can always tell the people that really just are here to just be here, and this is what they want to do, and they're fine with it, because they might have had a rougher life back then, or they just feel like this job is where they find their peace. For me, I find more people that actually want to do other things or outside things than just this. But I understand if people are wanting to do just this job, just to be there and to fill time and to do something that they really enjoy doing. And I can understand that, because it's just like when I look into going into like an acting class, or if I go into to seeing a show or something like that, those are things I enjoy. So I could just sit there all day long. If I could sit in New York and go to a Broadway show like every single day, I would probably do something like that, because that's how much I like it. So let me get back to fame real quick. So though I'm somewhat glad I didn't let my love for the art and entertainment overtake my wisdom, because I do believe I used wisdom, and maybe not saying, okay, I'm packing up everything, going to maybe Atlanta, or going out to LA, or going to just any place that I thought, would help me with like, I could go work on a cruise line or a cruise ship. My friends just mentioned it the other day. They said, you'd be perfect for working at like on a cruise ship or something like that, being an entertainer or something like that. I was like, okay, but that's not really, I like to cruise for a vacation. I like to do it to get away. So it's not something I just want to do constantly. Maybe in the future that could be something, but I think that's where a lot of people go that do have that pursuit and just want to perform and do different things, and maybe have not been able to been given a leg up in maybe the industry, or even they just find that they like to cruise and they want to perform as well. So I don't knock anything that anybody is doing, but I do believe there's wisdom in everything. And I believe I'm in the airline industry right now for a reason. I'm supposed to be there, even if it's just to just hide me away for a little bit and just kind of gather myself and get back to where I need to be in God. I think that's important as well. Or maybe make me realize maybe I don't need this, and I need to get back to more of, my passion. Maybe it'll drive me to that, just like at the bank. But I've been fine there for now, but I never want to run ahead of what I need. So it's done. So I don't want it to be done in like a way that compromises my values or strays from my light. When I get into any vein of anything that I do, whether it be flying, whether it be working at a bank, whether it be going to act, whether it be anything, I am very sure that all the values and all the things that contribute to who I am, I want to keep those and I want to sustain those. And I don't want that light. And I know the light will never leave because the light remains within me. But I want to be that light around the world where I go, the places I walk into. And like, it's a journey for me right now because I really believe that many times I probably haven't walked in the room in certain rooms. Let me put it that way. I haven't walked in certain rooms all the time as bright and light as I have because I'm wearing a lot of the stuff that I've either gone through, but a lot of that stuff, I'm telling you, is dropping off little by little. The more that I come into who I am and find my purpose, the more I'm comfortable with walking into those rooms that make me uncomfortable or walking into those rooms that I have hesitation about from past things. It's beneficial. So although I've seen many horror stories sometimes within the entertainment industry, it's still a place where I want to venture in, but now I can venture in with a more wise mind. I can go in a little bit older. Back then I was like 20 something, and I probably wouldn't have navigated it the right way back then, knowing everything that I know now. I didn't have all that wisdom there. So I don't know. We would have to see what that journey would have looked like or what that kind of path would have looked like. So I believe fame is, to me, a temporary fill of energy from others that feels great in the moment, but it doesn't capture everything your heart and soul truly needs at the end of the day. I have found many times when I have got done performing, when I have got done doing everything that I can to exercise my gift or to show my gift, there is still a place inside of you that even an applause, even a congratulations, even all those things, they're great and they're wonderful and they build you as the person you are, but they're not the end all because there's something else that is missing. And that's what I said. Now that I have a better understanding of what I have or what I am, I can actually walk in that confidence in those spaces and not feel like I need to sometimes put on or to go into that shy bubble that I sometimes do because the room is maybe intimidating or there's some other things. I can build myself with Christ and knowing that everything that I have inside of me is good enough for where I'm sitting or where I'm standing or who saw me or why I'm sitting in this place. I have to know that. You got to know that in your heart. So I think that people always look for ways to fill those spots in when the camera is off, when the lights dim, when that show ends, when that movie wraps. What are you left with? And that's why you'll find a lot of times I follow many, many celebrities. I keep up with it. I don't talk about it as much as I used to back when I was doing like my deluxe day edition and all that stuff like that. But now I actually still follow it a little bit to see the roads and the stories, and you can learn so much for watching the path and the trajectory of people's lives and just moving on and how they move in life. And it's very interesting to watch and see each of the movements of the stars, because you'll see sometimes when they're not at their height or when there is like maybe a time or place where they're not popping as much as they were back then or popping, as much as it was last month, they'll resort to maybe getting attention from other places or maybe creating a false narrative of a story or something to get their name back in the buzz of things. And I know that's all about PR. That's all about keeping your brand. But outside of that, if you are not comfortable or know who you are at the end of the day, when those lights dim, you're going to be lost. And you see those stories all over the news right now. If you're watching the spiral of Kanye right now, if you're watching the spiral of Justin Bieber right now, you're watching this play out years later, years down the line. They've been in the industry for years and years and years before we're finally starting to see the turnover or the way different things happen. But I love to see when an artist gets out there and they're able to navigate through the ups and the downs. That's why I will always shout out and I will respect Nicki Minaj. as an artist, as a person. A lot of people don't agree with everything she might sing about, she might stand for, or the argument she might get in. But at the end of the day, she has learned to navigate through so many ups and downs and being thrown and this which way, that way. And it's a testament to really knowing who you are, because even watching her story, like I see times when she was lower and she probably didn't feel like she was the best, but she has regained that power. And I love to see when people do that. And this is why we see people they'll overly saturate the media sometimes for likes and attention, or they'll go away for a little bit and then they can't take it no more. And they can say, we got to come back. We got to make money. So the money can be the drive as well. So we live in a world of all of that. Like, we got to have a hit tweet. We got to have a witty statement, or even stolen statements from other people. We find that a lot in life. Like, I do believe that I always say this to everybody, nothing is new under the sun. So anytime even I think of something like, oh my gosh, that was a really smart thing that I did. No, it probably has been said before. I'm just maybe saying it in a different way. But some people be just jacking stuff off of other people's pages and acting like it's their own. And I'm like, that ain't real. That's false. So I'm like, anything I try to do it from my mind, but it's other things that I probably heard along the way that have steered and guided me to either say that or write that down or really get me into that point where I wanted to talk about it. So we got to be careful of that, because some people are getting credit for what other people have built. And that's the crazy part about it, because like other times, the Lord has helped them to build or establish their platform, and someone swoops in and tries to rearrange it or make it their own. Just know, like I said in previous episodes, and I will say this until I can say it no more, nobody can do what you do like you do. It wasn't until I got back to the basics of why I do what I do, or the reasons I'm putting this out, that I truly removed the want for fame and replaced it with impact. So more of my gear now to going back and trying to maybe now study more acting, or trying to get into where I can be comfortable going up on a stage or sitting in a room. The reason why I want to start to navigate those things once more is because now I realize what I need to do in order to be ready for these places that I know that God wants to take me, not even just in a podcast, in other huge and dynamic ways. And it might not even be as huge as I think it is, but in God's eyes, it's the exact purpose that he wanted it to be. And so I have to be okay with that. So now I've learned to just be like, God, do what you need to do. Take it. I take my hands off of trying to orchestrate it. You do what you need to do in order to get it where it needs to be. I do realize I have oversaturated my mind sometimes with wanting to leave something with the world around me, where I'm thinking of in order to be an actor, a lot of times you do have to be very self-absorbed. It's just the truth. Many of them are very self-absorbed, and I find myself having to get myself out of the mindset of what can I leave on this earth? No, it's like, what can God do through me so that I can do what I need to do in this earth? And I just got done watching a movie called Magazine Dreams. It was a very dark film. I keep telling people that it was a very dark film, but the message at the end resonated with my spirit, because it was a very odd, his oddness in the world, which I don't know, people might look at me odd like that, but I said his oddness was like cringe. So I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's cringe. There might be people that see some of the videos or something I put out, they'd be like, oh, that's cringe as well. Well, that's what I like to do, and I'm going to continue doing it because that's what's in me to do, and to give me joy and to give me that happiness, or to just remind me of what I can create. And so I'm always going to do that. So maybe to him, being a bodybuilder was that important to him because he wanted to make this impact, or he wanted to make this whole thing about what he can leave in the earth. But at the end of the day, he had to come back to the basics of who he was as a person. It's not what I leave here with you on this camera, or what I'm leaving with you on these podcasts, or whatever I'm doing in order to get a message out. It really comes down to, at the end of the day, what did I do with real people in real life around real people? That's what I'm working on in my life now. It's like real relationships outside of just being in the house all day, because I am by myself. I don't have anyone around all the time. So a lot of times I can have this creative mind in order to do this. I don't have anything else to worry about but being in this creative state when I want to, when I feel like it. And so now it's like, okay, but I want to be that in the real world as well. So I have made more efforts now to try and reach out my best. Not even try. I don't like to even say the word try anymore. I want to reach out as much as I can to be that person that impacted not just the world around me, but the people that were around me, the energy that I gave off. That's important to me now even more. And I don't want it to get to the point where I'm worried about pleasing everybody, where the energy is like, I just want to please you and say the right thing to everybody. I want it to be the authentic, genuine David that I have always been, that I have always known. It just got kind of bumped off along the way because of like different things that happen in my life, but regaining that feels so good to me. I'm telling you, it feels so good. So that movie really helped me to understand that. And I do believe that there are people that come into this industry or come into the entertainment industry with a natural love for the art form, but they may get lost when they gain what we call fame, but it's not necessarily what they wanted or they needed, actually. So even in the midst, when I'm asking, like sometimes like, Lord, if this is what you have for me, you know, he'll set it up for me, but it's my choice to, if I walk in it or if I back away from it. So it's like, okay, what do you want me to do? Because I don't want to get into the position of, okay, you've given me these things that I've always wanted, but then somebody swoops in and twists around the actual intention of everything that I wanted to do within the industry, within myself, when I wanted to, you know, make this difference or be the light, be the difference. I remember I went to it was a acting modeling thing called Shine back in the day in 2000, I believe 13. And their thing was about being a light in the industry, in this dark world, being this light in the industry. And I was so hype about it because I was like, yes, I can walk in here and be the light, not even knowing who I was at the time in order to be that light or to be that shine that I needed to be. Years later now, it's 10 years, 10, 11, 12 years later, and I am here now getting a better sense of myself here at 42 years old, getting a better sense of who I am and what I walk in, and that I can't be shameful of what God created me as. And that's where I'm at in my life. I feel that's kind of how the industry does work, though, in many ways. So they find what you love. And I just want to bring that back to that, because they find what you love, and sometimes they'll suck you dry till you lose the love of what you originally intended, what you originally had intended it for, and they offer an alternative to you to keep you in their never-ending loop, indebted to them, not to God, but to them as people. And it might be the money, it might be your dignity, it might be your power, it might be your happiness. I feel like there is always a trade within the industry of whatever they're giving you. There is a trade. And I'm to the point where I used to back away because I was like, you know what? I know there's a trade-off, and you know, if you really want to be famous, like I said, there is a difference between that fame drug that we talk about, or just wanting to come in and being a change agent, or being somebody that changes things around or shifts things in the atmosphere of where you're at. And you can walk in that. You don't have to say anything glorious or magnificent or anything like that. It can just be your presence in a place that makes a difference. My co-pastor, Jackie White, she just said that the other day. Just your presence in a place can make a difference. So I appreciate her saying those words, because it was so important to hear that. As a person like me, I take in everything. And so sometimes I got to take some stuff in and spit some stuff out. That's what I was always told in the day, because I take everything literally and I apply it to myself. And I can carry all of that stuff that's being applied to me. That's just the type of thinker I am. But I've had to kind of gauge my way and kind of get out of that and go to God about it. Go to God about what I just heard. Not always take every single thing in and take it for pure gold. You got to go back to God and you check his word. You check what's in there so you know what you and your heart are. Everybody's not going to receive it the same way. So this is stuff that I am learning today, you guys. Like I can't stress this enough. These are new things that I'm learning along my journey, and it feels really good to actually be in that place where I can receive it that way, where it's not all tied to me, so I'm not burdening myself down with everything that I feel at that time. So one thing I will never allow is others to ever try and take from me again is my natural joy. That's one thing I will not allow it to do, be it on IG, whether it be on TikTok. My natural joy, I want to show the world. So when you see me popping on a video dancing or popping on a wig and acting like I'm from the 80s like I just did, like it's me with my natural joy inside of me wanting to just express what was in my mind. And I never want to lose that. And I feel like a lot of people lose that childlike part of them sometimes. Yes, there's a limit to, there's a difference between a childlike mind and being childish. Like, I just believe I have a childlike mind and I just think in that way. And that's how I get my joy. That's natural. It just comes to me. And I'm thankful that God gave me that. I just wrote something recently. I'm not going to read it on here. I'll probably do like a video or something about it, but I wrote something about how God reset my mind when I went through my acquired brain injury, which I talk about in the very beginning of this. I might have to reroute and come back to that story again now that more things have changed in my life. We'll see. But I'm thankful that he gave me a brand new start, like made me fresh. Like, it's like when people talk about being born again. When you come into Christ, you're born again. Like, I had that experience while I was, heavily in church as my teenage years. And then I was able to be rebirthed again and given this life. And I will not take that life for granted ever again in my life. I will not take the life that he gave me again for granted. So there are so many different things I could talk about on here. I'm just going to finish with my last 3 points though. There are some that find ways to kind of beat the system. I wanted to bring this up but when they try to beat the system, it's not always an easy road. And I'm just talking about just the machine in general. The machine is not just the entertainment industry. The machine is the world that we're in right now. And many times you can find ways to navigate around it. People do that with money. People do that with businesses. They find ways to navigate around it, but it's not always easy to do it that way. Some people want to take everything the easier way, just like when actors, they fall into it without having the whole background, just like what Crystal Monique talked about a couple episodes ago. Everything just ties into this, but she just talked about it like you have to give something. You have to get trained. You have to have the knowledge of things in order to walk in these spaces a lot of times. That's what produces longevity. That's what produces your long staying in something that you really love and you really want. So that is my heart's desire, when I finally transition over into this new space outside of flying, outside of just the norm of what I'm used to doing in my, in our everyday life. I am in love with a career, or I call acting sometimes a career because it can be that for you, that expresses a piece of the fullness that I am and that I'm committed now to pursue that. But beyond reasons of fame, I truly know that something special lies ahead for me, something impactful, meaningful, life-changing, transformative, unique, revived, and something that I can't do all by myself. I need the help of God and those divinely connected to me to get me to these places that God has prepared for me. And that's how I look at it. I ask the Lord to help me during this time as I'm navigating, as I'm going through this journey. That's what this podcast is for, to navigate, to journey, to show you the process of getting to where you're going to be, or where your rightful place is. And I ask the Lord to keep my intentions during this process pure, so that anybody that comes, like, I can't look at everybody negatively when they come around and they try to offer something, or I can't look at it as a trap or somebody's trying to get, that's what the world has trained us to. But there are some genuine people out here that do want to see you succeed, that do want to see you go forward, that do want to see you be the best that you can be in everything that's in you. And so I do believe that. And I'm going to keep that mindset, whether it's right or wrong. I'll let God deal with them if it's not right. If they didn't come to it the right way, Lord, you deal with them. And that's all I got to say, because I don't have nothing. I can't do nothing to them. There's no need for no revenge. You deal with them and have your way. And that's all that's really what I say. So with the help of the Lord and whoever he chooses to walk this path, and whatever he chooses to walk this path and connects me with my vision that's placed on me, I am ready. And that's what I'm giving today. Like, I am ready. Bless me, Lord, so that I can bless others. And that's really how I wrap this episode of The Fame Drug. Man, I was just chatting away, but I really enjoy episodes like this where I can pour out everything that has been just given to me from, I believe, God sometimes. But I love that because it's my journey, and this is what I'm headed towards. And I know that he's doing some amazing things day by day by day. So if you are on Instagram, follow me at Deluxe Dave, DeluxeDave. And then follow me on TikTok at Deluxe Dave, DeluxeDave. Also follow Coleman on Purpose on IG and follow it on Instagram. There are 2 separate pages that I have on both websites, so you can follow them there. Till next time, please remember that you are unique, you are loved, and you are created for greatness. Until next time,